Hello everybody. Today I will be finishing my Build Indomitus series with Skorpekh Destroyers. I am very excited to build this kit. Of the Indomitus kits, I've been saving one of the best for last. I absolutely love them. They're just awesome. They're these big spider dudes with huge Necron axes, I guess. So I'm going to try to jump in and not nerd out too much. I'm very excited for this one. Destroyers have always been just a really cool looking mini. The kind of scarab shell, centaur-esque type floaty. I don't even know how to describe it very well. But I like them a lot. I know the current mini is a little outdated, but if you haven't seen, there's rumors going around of new destroyer minis. New heavy destroyers, new stats for them, and alternatives of basically everything in the Indomitus kit. So I'm trying my hardest not to jump on the Let's Play Necrons because they're really pretty and in your face right now, and wait until October. All right. Let's see here. We've got the first few pieces clipped off. And just like other old Necron models I've assembled, you can see they've got some battle damage. I think that's really welcome. I like the idea of destroyers and the lore. And reading up little snippets on these guys, it seems like they have the same fault, I guess, is the right word for it, that current, or I guess previous destroyers had, where they have a bug or glitch in their code that basically makes them crazy and they just have to kill. It's like a stoplight has to turn red, orange, and green. Necron destroyers have to kill. And I think it's who are the dudes who have to wear skin? Those guys are awesome. I wouldn't mind new kits for them. Okay, it's a nice little Necron pelvis. I love that blade. It's gargantuan. Where's a Primaris mini? Here we go. Look at that. It's huge. Huge. Where did I put the stats for these blades? Oh, now I can't see my instructions. Here we go. Skorpekh Destroyers. Goodness. That's a Hyperphase Reap blade. It's +2 strength, neg 4 AP, and flat 3 damage. Wowzers. Oh, excuse me, I got the burps. All right, so what we're going to do here is we have to place this long peg in through the back hole. I want to just slide it in, but I'm going to glue it first, just because it gives a little resistance. And actually what I'll do is put a little glue on the rim of the hole. There we go, just a small amount. Oh, man. And I'm going to do a little on top because I believe that it's going to rest up there. Well, that's a little tight, a little snug. And then I'm going to try to tilt this to the side so it's straight. And then we take, here we are, our Necron pelvis, and I'm looking at the instructions trying to make sure I put it on straight, because the front and the back look pretty similar and the instructions don't show you the peg hole. So it's looking like it's going to go on hole facing back. Whoops. So I'll put a little bit of glue on the inside and slide that right on down. Whoa. Ooh, yeah. Be careful when you're doing that. I don't know if it shows up on video, but I applied a little bit too much pressure and now I've got stress marks on these. These are very delicate pieces, so push from the top. This has got a lot more wiggle than I thought. I'm going to pull it off just a bit. And right up on this peg, I'm going to put a little, and try to reattach. There we go. See, we've got a little connecting piece up top. So make sure that gets glued. It will probably help quite a bit. So while that dries, I'm going to clip off F4 and F5. All right, here we go. Oh, I just love these minis. Oh, wow. F4, F5. Let's see here. Clean this off. Just quick, gentle cuts. I'm not seeing any mold lines on these kits, and that's fantastic. Space Marines had a few. So far, the Necrons have been pretty clean, which is great. I'm really excited. All right, easy breezy. Oh, look at that. So he's not holding the weapon. There's no hands. They're attached, and then it's got this, I don't even know what to describe that secondary piston elbow part that sticks out and would contract. You can see it's pushed out a little to differentiate the angle that the weapon will be at. So if it wants to slice down, it'll just yank that blade in, or that piston in, really quickly. All right, this looks like it'll be pretty straightforward. Stick the head onto the other part of the head. So I'll put a little droplet of glue on that. Remember, with plastic glue, you don't want to go too much. Go with too much. Less is more. And then I've messed this up a lot, where we have the very thin neck piston and this thin piece. So I'm going to try to do this right, because I think if I just go straight on, you can't. So let's see. Do we have to hook this up and in? Oh, this is a tricky part. Let's see if the instructions offer any help. Okay. So it just says push it in, but then it shows off how it needs to land. So it's a little bit. So this should, I'm probably making this way more difficult than I need to. But it is definitely not as straightforward as previous kits. It can't just push in like that. Almost hit it. Oh yeah, there we almost. There we go. Okay, that was not as easy as I would have hoped. Sorry about that focus. I think if I had focused more on, there we go. Whoops. The arm joint attaching than the head, it would have fit a little easier. I'm gonna make sure to put a little bit of glue right on that arm joint for an extra piece of connectivity. And then we just kind of slap this bad boy on. So it looks like we're gonna have a connection point at the top, two of them, large peg, obviously, two side connection points, and two arm connection points. So I'll just start with the peg, so I can get a little extra glue in there if I need to. There we go. Oh yeah, a whole bunch is pouring out now. Let's get some of that off on the side. Sometimes with plastic glue, it's nothing, 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 and then all the glue comes out at once. If you hear that scratching, that is my cat Moss scratching to get in. Okay, a little bit of pressure, and it's in. We've got a nice little pose. Oh. I think I'll pause really quick and let him in. All right, in classic cat fashion, he led me to the food bowl, which is full, and meowed. Oh, gotta love cats. Where did I put... Yo. Looks like I got a little excess glue going around the tip. So I'm gonna get all that off. Okay, legs. This will be awesome. I could picture it as a biped. Having seen it as a tripod? Excuse me. It's a little more difficult, but I could totally see that being, just two legs. Or, what was that old game where it was cars that would fight? There was a dude named Axel, and he just had his arms and legs stuck in tires, like big tires. You just have wheels like Rosie from the Jetsons. All right. 6, 7, and 8. More of these fun little pistons all over the models. Definitely an extra little layer of detail that I really appreciate. Goes with the battle damage. I also really appreciate that. Okay. Let's trim this down. I don't think I'm going to have time for the whole unit, so I'm going to build this model and the Plasmancer that comes with the kit, just because it's getting pretty late tonight. But I have seen some mold lines, so on the inside edge and the outside edge are just little baby mold lines, and very gentle scratches will get rid of them. Although I do need to cut off that chunk of slag. One down. Whoops. Here we go. And the last leg. All right. Whoa, whoops, my bad. Uh-oh, you can see my dirty hobby space under this. I've got one of those green hobby mats, but it is nasty. So I try to cover it up with some matte paper. Oh, I missed a little piece of slag there. There we go. All right, let's see how these attach. We have 50mm bases. Same thing that Chaos Spawn come on. Lords of Contagion as well. So they're not the most common base, but they're out there. All right. So it looks like this just, wow, that's really simple. I was expecting a little resistance or something, but you can just set this on and it kind of finds its way, whoops, to fit. Oh, did I? No, I didn't miss a piece. And I say it finds a way to fit without being able to, get it to fit on. There's a slight indent in this concave area where you're going to have a connection point. So I'm going to put a little glue into the peg hole as per usual. There, is that the glue coming out? There we go. And the slightest little drop in that spot. And this is a little tricky because it looks like this needs to be flush. There's a line right there, but this is a very thin piston where I'm naturally trying to apply pressure. Very thin piece. If I was to trim pegs off, it would be right here. And actually, I think on the other leg, I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna clip it down all the way. Let's see if that helps. I'm not gonna have the same guiding force, but there's no seam and there's no risk. Though I do think I'll need to hold it a little bit to let it dry. Now, because there's no peg, I'm doing all the glue around the hole because nothing's going in it. Let's hold that for a few seconds. One Mississippi. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot better. Take a look at this. I don't know if the focus... So, very small... Oh, there's a little gap. Very little fine lines. Whereas with the peg side, there's a large gap there. If you put a little excess glue on, you could even have this, the glue fill that gap in. But it is very wobbly still. Whereas this one is extremely solid. So, whoa. Yeah, these guys in general are really wobbly. I'm going to put a little glue right in that joint. There we are. So it'll keep that together. Beautiful minis, but very fragile minis. Well, the glue holds for the drop test. And lastly, the tail leg. I guess when you make a tripod, you have an option of, do you want the third leg to stick out the front and kind of drag, or stick out the back and kind of push? And just apply a little bit of glue. Oh, it looks like there's a connection point on the bottom. This is right above that piston. I don't think that you'd need to sub-assemble this when you paint it. Oh, that is not easy to get in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I would definitely trim that peg as well. Now, this is only the first one. There we go. Slight gap. Pretty hidden, though. Actually, very hidden. And I'll just pop this right onto the base. Oh, yeah. That is so cool. Oh, my goodness. And just like with the Assault Intercessors, he's got a very dynamic pose. Look at that from above. He's looking off in this direction, obviously spinning down to cut one of these, frankly, tiny Primaris Marines. And it's really great in that Indomitus trailer, I guess the new Warhammer trailer, how tall they really show these Necrons to be, related to Primaris. So it looks like the Plasmancer's on a 28mm base, and I've misplaced the 28mm base that came with this, so I'm just gonna pop them on a 32 for now. Now this is just a 3-part kit. Very simple. 1, 2, 3. Let's clip this guy out. I say really simple because it's 3 pieces, but it's 3 very spindly little, delicate, fragile pieces with a lot going on. I mean, look at the connection points on this. I think this goes back to not only Games Workshop being able to cast in plastic like this, but also doing it is a deterrent to people copying it. Because resin is naturally brittle as heck. If you own any Forge World models or have had anything 3D printed or maybe done and bought some unsavory products, duplicates. Ooh, wow. Got distracted and I flattened out the, what is this called? A monomolecular proboscis. Ooh. Fancy. The only other proboscis I know of in 40K are the rotting proboscis on the plague drones. They're not called rotting proboscis, but they are awesome. All right, so this little guy uses his monomolecular proboscis to inject infectious sentient energy into the deranged members of the Destroyer cult. Huh. So he goes around and is like a water boy for crazy robots, except he's not providing them water. he's providing them sentient energy. So, like, steroids that think. That's so metal. What if someone came up and was like, hey man, you want some Gatorade? You're like, sure, I'll take some Gatorade. I'm a little thirsty. And then someone comes up and says, hey man, you want some of the sentient Gatorade? It'll change the way you act. It'll, freaking make you work out. Make you do laps, whether you like it or not. Okay, getting off topic. We've got the two pieces with these long little spider legs. Oh, this guy is so cool. I think that he'll be a very popular bit for conversions, and you'll just see this little guy kind of popping up on all sorts of Necron conversions. Oh hey, I didn't even notice there's a second peg down here. Ooh, getting distracted. Focus on the build, Joe. So he's got a little peg that I didn't see going into the support. It's a little tricky to get in there. Wow, it's really tricky to get in there. Holy cow. Jeez. I'm just going to squeeze the body together, and then I almost feel like I need to get pliers for this. What is... Don't try this at home. There we go. Okay. So I ruined the leg on that scarab there. I had glue, it was drying. Clip the peg off on that one. Just don't bother. Clip it off. That was rough. And then really is... It just... Pop that on. Alright. I'm not going to don't put glue on top of the peg, because there's a hole in the carapace. It's supposed to go flush. Go round to the base. Okay. And our dastardly little drug pusher is complete, and on a base that is slightly too big. He's pretty cute. Oh. Sub-assembly? I mean, you could. If you want to get on the inside of the legs, it's a 3-piece model, so it's not going to be difficult to do. I'm going to say just kind of decide how you want to do it. The only part that might be difficult is if you're going to blend this stone. That base spot is part of the stone, and ooh, wow, those are really fragile. She's going to walk up and already reach. Zap him on the back. What does he reach up to on a Primaris Marine? Oh yeah, zap you right in the mouth. Can this dude zap? Monomolecular proboscis has the same strength and profile as this sword. So this little zappy thing is just as strong as this chain sword. He gets one attack because he gets one poke at you. But strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage, not too shabby. Let's see here. Oh. Yeah, he jacks dudes up really good. Well, jacks these guys up. Basically, he's a walking plasma gun that injects them with plasmaroids. Oh, hey, I think there's a little port back there to inject them with. Does that line up? Huh. Well, that's the case. That's a really unique detail. It seems to fit just right. Height's about right. So he just sneaks up, bam, +1 strength, and what was it? Tainted attack. 1 strength and attack. Wow. But if he fails, he just pops. Oops, dead. Well, thank you all very much. I'm going to do a quick little test. I'd appreciate some feedback. I've had a few people request for conversion videos. Now, I use, aside from my trusty little knife, a series of tools, files, obviously blades, more files, but the biggest tool I use is my handy dandy Dremel. So, scoot these out of the way, and Now I'm going to show you what I use with my handy dandy Dremel. I'm going to do a small noise test. So I do need to learn how to do some more video editing, YouTube video editor, or just, buy some solid software. But if you only wanted to see builds, then I'm done. If you want to see some more about how I do conversions and everything, I'll show off some of my tools. If you're leaving, thank you and have a good evening. If you're sticking around, check this out. It's a Dremel circular saw. Look at how fine those teeth are. Let's see if I can really show that off. So I learned about these through my grandfather-in-law. These are for making details on wood carving. He is a professional decoy carver. He carves decoy ducks and then sells them for an amount of money that would make a Warhammer player blush. But my favorite series are of bits, I've got a few of them in here, are these boring drill bits. They just have little circle tips, or spherical drill bits. There's probably some more in this big pile of stuff. And okay, here's one. They get exceptionally tiny. And this guy's great for magnets on big stuff. You drill in, and then you just make a circular motion until it's the size you need. But, for example, if I wanted to take, say, the shield out of the hands of the Indomitus captain, well, that'd be tricky. I'd probably cut around the hands, then take... Where is my... Well, I'd find it, the one size smaller than this, and drill out under the hand and try to leave the fingers intact. Same with the thumb. So I might be giving that a shot. I'd like to do a noise test now. If it goes poorly, I'm sorry. So please turn down your volume. I'm going to, turn this Dremel on. See how loud it is. And you know what? Let me get one of these out and grind on a piece of plastic with it. Let's get not the really big one. Here we go. Because I would like to show off converting some of this stuff. This is a hose attachment, obviously. This button doesn't start it. It locks it so you can tighten. I wasn't sure what it did when I got it, and I didn't read instructions, so while I was running, I pushed it and it makes a terrible sound. I have this sprue from my last video, and I'm going to turn my Dremel on in 3, 2, 1. That's not too bad. This is my working speed, and here comes the loud noise. Okay. Anything louder than that, I'll likely do off screen. Or pause. So all that's really done is do some small little indents. And with converting with a Dremel, it's such a big tool, and these are such small minis that you really have to be careful. Someone actually requested that I design some different weapons for these because they want to just chop the hand off and then pop on like a chain axe. So here's a chain axe I went out, found, scaled up a little bit and resin printed. And a thunderhammer. Turns out they're printed too large. So I'm going to redo that. But I'd probably clip off most of this and then use that tool to smooth out this bit of armor so that I could just pop a thunderhammer on. That'd be pretty cool. Because come on, you gotta give Assault Intercessors thunderhammers. Okay, thank you all for watching. this concludes the Indomitus build series. I'm not sure if I'll start with conversions next, or, maybe I'll just go get a start collecting box and go crazy. Oh, I think those new AdMech models have been catching my eye, the ones with the wings, or the weird horse things. In any event, if you're watching this in the morning, good morning. If you're watching it any other time, good afternoon, or good night. Have a good one.